Okay, we're going to go ahead and make this face mask, and this is what it's going to look like when it's finished, and we'll go over its features at the end. The first thing you're going to need is you either need 15 inches of material, 15 inches by 7.5, or what we like to do is we like to have a soft muslin on the inside and a color on the outside. So I've made this first piece of material 8 3/4 inches by 7.5, and the second piece 6 3/4 inches by 7.5. And the first thing you're going to do is put these two pieces together with their right sides facing together, and then you're going to sew right along here. Small seam here. And then you come and you match these two pieces up. And this is where you're going to make just the short 1.5 inch stitching to hold the mask in. And so I'm making this 1/2 inch in. And I'm just going to sew up about 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to come to the other end and do the same thing. So we've got this small seam here, and we've got these 2.5 inch darts there. First thing we'll do here is we're going to iron that seam flat, and then we're going to fold it about like that, open this seam up, and iron that flat. Okay, so here we are, and I have turned this right side out, and I'm going to put it in the sewing machine right here, and I'm going to put a seam right along on this side. I'm lining it up with my foot right there. And then while you're doing this, you kind of have to open up the little envelope and pay special attention when you get to the end here that it's straight and that you're not sewing over the piece of it there. Okay, now I'm going to trim this thread off, and then I'm going to show you what I did so it's real clear. Can you see that? I put a seam right there. We still have the pocket opening, but now we have a nice little finished seam right there. So we're back at the ironing board, and what we're going to do is you've got that 1/2 inch seam right here, and you're going to fold it just to that 1/2 inch seam right there, and you're going to iron this. Okay, now we've got our opening here at the top. I'm going to put it like this, and we're going to put our pleats in it. You'll just grab it from the bottom here, and you're going to fold it down. The most important thing is the pleats have to be folded down from the top. And I'll put my little clip there. Doesn't really matter exactly how you pleat them. It's nice if it's straight going across. On your last pleat, you'll just get it to the width that you want, and we want this about 3 3/4 to 4 inches wide when we're finished. Takes a little practice learning how to do the pleats, but After about 20 masks, you'll get it. So there you go. Then we're going to iron that really well. And then we'll take it back to the sewing machine. And we're going to sew along the edges here. So this is the most complex part of the sewing program here. I've got my little wire. This is 4 inches long, and I've got this little pocket right here. So I'm going to slip that wire into that little pocket, and then using my fingers to tell where it's equidistant from both sides, then I know that's about where it is. I'm going to pinch that right there and hold it. And then you can do this a different way, but this is the method I've come up with. So I'm lining it up again with my left zipper foot. I'm going to anchor my thread, and then I'm going to go until I get right before that wire, and I can feel where it is. When I get there, I'm going to make sure my needle is down, and I'm going to pivot it. I'm going to go forwards and backwards until I'm back to where I was. And what that does is it puts a little stop right there so this wire will not slide back and forth. Make sure you don't run over the wire with your needle. You'll break your needle. I can see where the end of the wire is. I'm going to stop there, anchor it with my needle, come this way, go forward, go backward, right about there, and then come to the end. Anytime that you're going to turn your material, make sure that your needle's down. Now I come here, I'm going to take these clips out, but I'm going to hold it really tightly with my left hand and make sure that my darts actually go under the needle. So you want to go slow here. Down to the bottom. This seam, doesn't really matter where you put it, but I like to keep it on the colored part. And these seams at the end are pretty darn close to the edge of the fabric. So I'm taking those clips out again. I'm holding it tight with my left hand. Okay, we're back at the ironing board. We've got our mask face up, and we've got our 2-inch strip. This can be matching material or a coordinating fabric. We're going to put the two good sides together, and we're going to leave it hanging over a 1/2 inch on the end. We'll fold that over, and then we'll come on to the other side. It's good not to cut these ahead of time because you're going to cut them custom to each one, so they will fit perfectly. We'll take that and we'll fold it over, and then we'll do the other end, and then we'll go over to the ironing board or over to the sewing machine and sew that on. And again, I'm making this seam just to the edge of my zipper foot there, or my sewing machine foot. What I like to do is I like to make a dozen at a time. If I'm making a dozen at a time, I'll sew this, and then I'll just pull it a little bit. I'll start the next one, pull it a little bit until I have all 12 of them hooked together. And then I'll snip my scissors, and then I'll turn it around, and then I'll start with the first one again on the other end, and I'll do the same thing until all of them are done. And then I trim them apart. The other thing that does is it'll save on your thread, because every time you have to pull your thread out, you're going to use more thread. Okay, we're back at the ironing board. We have sewed the two ends right there. We're going to fold this over until the right side is out, and we're going to fold this under so that it's parallel with the mask. And then you'll start here and just go like that. And it flattens out quite nicely. We'll do the same thing over here. And we'll flip it over. We're going to fold the end to the end of the mask like that. And then over once more. Like that. And then if you're using elastic, you're going to take your piece of elastic, put it right there, and clip it just like that. Then we'll do the same thing to the other end, and then we'll come back and stitch right along here. And then we'll be almost done. Okay, we're back at the sewing machine. I'm going to turn this so the white part's up. Make sure that your elastic is all the way over to the right. And then this seam, you're going to put this seam right on the very left edge of this piece of material. The most important thing there is make sure that your elastic moves back and forth and that you didn't sew over your elastic. And again, if you're doing a dozen of these at a time, you can just put the next one in and do that. If you don't have a pair of these, you need a pair of these. These are really cool tool. They're a thread cutter. Very handy. Got in those little clips. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to put one of these little perler beads on the end. These are those little plastic beads that you use to melt together in patterns. So I've got a blunt needle here with a large eye on it, and if your elastic isn't trimmed quite right, you might have to trim that nice and sharp. Put your elastic in your needle, put your bead on, come to the other side. I like these to be straight, so I'll just hold those so they're nice and flat together, and then push my bead down. So I don't know if you know what I mean by straight, but now these are flat. It's not twisted, that's what I mean. And then the final step is match up these two ends and put a knot in it. And you want to push that knot down near the end, like that. Then you have your little sliding perler beads, and I can show you on this finished one. One of the nice parts about that is you can slide this, put this one through here, slide this tight, and now the mask can go behind your head instead of over your ears, which gives the wearer another option, especially if their ears are getting sore. There you go. We made this pattern for the filter. This is a piece of fabric from a furnace filter. We've ordered 10 yards of this type of fabric. It's called Merv 13. We actually ordered Merv 15, which is even a better filter. And so I cut this out in that shape. And then on the back side, this is a inside shower curtain, the shower curtain liner that goes on the inside of a shower curtain. It's made out of polypropylene. We ordered a few of those and we're just cutting them up and sewing that onto the back. So you sew that onto the back.
Onto the front.
Onto the front. This is going to go on the front of your mask. And then when I'm finished sewing, this one got screwed up, but when I sew it just in a regular stitch, and then I've been doing a zigzag right around the edge, and then, oh look, there's a finished one. This actually was one of the ones that, this has a different type of paper on both sides. So that's not the best indication. That's the same kind. Okay, but
It's the right shape.
it's the right shape. So this gives you an idea. This is how the filter goes in there, and then you stretch it out and try to cover up as much of the inside area as you can. These are stiffer than these, and we quit using this material because it didn't work as well. So this filter, when it's finished, I trim off the corners, and then that gets spread out in there, and you have pretty good coverage with your filter. Like that. And you can take these filters out of this material. You can hang with a binder clip off the wire in your oven, and if you heat them to 195 degrees for 30 minutes, it will sterilize them. Or if you have 4 of these filters, you can use one the first day, and then on the 5th day, use this one again. In the meantime, put these in plastic bags at night as you use them, and after 4 days, they should be virus-free again. Your mask, though, should be laundered.
Hand washed and hung dry.
Hand washed and hung dry between uses. And that's about it. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope that helps.